to a workplace, employer aren't going to crush all the little specialists.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's a relationship business, right? And if you take care of your clients are going to stay with you, particularly in the employee benefits arena. In the health insurance space, everybody gets the same products, the same price. If you're under 100
same
employees,
damn increases every year.
Same thing. It's vanilla, and there's not much you can do about it. So, I don't think anyone's going away. I just don't think anyone's going to make a material difference in what's out there. What we're trying to do is figure out, can we actually get big enough to create pricing leverage in the marketplace? Who knows? That's our goal, right?
Yeah.
How big do you think you have to get
on a case
to
side?
that
For
point?
sure, you're there.
That's a good question. So, and do you do it outside of a PEO or inside of a PEO?
Oh, Jesus, that's two.
Okay, hey,
Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
I'll do one. I'll do one. You do one. He did two, so we can't put him through that
Finish your
again.
thought,
I
Mike.
walked right into that one.
Is there one for me?
This is what I will say. I think if
something in there.
anyone can figure it out, I think we're farther ahead than anyone else trying to figure it out.
And I'm
believe that.
going to say a positive here. I love the idea of convergence. Even for like a local advisor, because I want a retirement plan advisor to be able to offer more services and generate more revenue for themselves. So if you can kind of pave the path and show us all that it works and how to do it, there might be a lot of little firms that can kind of copy what you're doing, and it'll be good for the whole industry.
Right. But here's what I think is not the dirty little secret, but I think the biggest challenge is for most firms. And again, where I think we've got a good thing going is the only way you're ever going to sell a converged story is have teammates that want to work together. You have to have a culture. Yep. You have to have a culture where it's sort of like we actually enjoy each other's company. We'll go have a beer after work.
Because you can't be an expert in all those things.
You can't be an expert in all things, but corporate can't sit there and go, okay, now you guys are in the same market, start working together. Your retirement, your employee benefits.
Right.
If you don't actually enjoy each other's company, you're not going to do anything together.
You're kind of
And
old school.
you have to know you can trust that person with your client too. If you're fearful of losing your line of business because you referred them to
That's why most firms, you can have all these verticals, but if you actually ask where do you have a client where you have 5 solutions in that client, it's rare.
Right.
It's rare, but it has as much to do with the people dynamic inside a firm like ours than what the client wants.
What you're saying is there's no shortcuts. Like you have.
And I'm also saying most firms that do acquisitions,
they're not focused on
we
culture.
focus on culture. If you don't fit us, we're not doing that opportunity.
Just thinking for him now.
Most firms will do it if the math works.
Okay, let's.
Wait, hold on. But when you get to a certain size, I feel like a lot of that can be a good story, but it's hard to maintain that. Like how? But when you get so big.
So Adam and I meet every single person that joins us, and believe it or not, I was just in a meeting today. We're not going to do that opportunity because we had a detailed conversation, did not fit. Most
when you're
firms do
acquiring,
not
you
do
can
that.
acquire the right culture. You're seeing built practices. You know how they operate.
And the great thing now is like we're successsul enough now. It doesn't matter if we walk away with deals.
You don't have to.
You're
you don't
already
have to make the deal.
You don't care.
No, but I do. I'm a co-founder out there still on the road all the time trying to figure this out because I love it.
God. Listen,
Love it.
I have 35 employees. If I had 3,800, I wouldn't work a day in my fucking life.
Well, you would if you loved it. You would if you loved
Apparently
it.
I don't love it that much. So let's pivot a little bit. Dimensional funds. And to me, it's always been like almost like Vanguard. Like there's a cult of advisors that follow them. And back in the day, I felt like you couldn't sell dimensional funds unless you were like on their list and part of their little secret group. It's expanded a little. They're on record-keeping platforms and stuff, but they still kind of have that brand. You guys have something going on with them now, some type of strategic partnership or something?
So we just met. So Nate Pratt joined our company from Dimensional.
Okay.
And so he said, there's a lot of what I feel here at OneDigital that reminds me of what I felt at Dimensional. Why don't we just get leadership together and talk? And the more we started talking about it, it's sort of like they have solutions our clients need. We have a distribution strategy that is interesting to them, and they have a lot of advisors who trust them in terms of how they see the marketplace. So we're simply, when you talk about It's just business folks that are coming at a problem from two different directions who have basically said, I think we could figure out some things together that's good for the client.
What does that look like? So now, does that mean that you're going to start acquiring like DF?
Dimensional fund advisors.
Dimensional fund advisors into the OneDigital umbrella?
There's going to be dimensional advisors that join us. We already have the first one joining us now, and great guy. Think about it this way. There's a bunch of firms out there that are oriented towards dimensional. A lot of them need to find a home. They want to be part of a bigger entity, and we find they can find a home here very comfortably, but it's still going to be we're going to fit each other as people, or we move on.
Okay, so they're scratching your back. How will you scratch their back? Just by being more aware of them as investment options for all your things. I mean, because they're a good shop. So
we make their funds available to all of our folks.
Were you shaking your head no anymore?
Well, we heard Vince talk about 20% growth in the managed account service or the portfolios you all are creating. I would imagine DFA has a heavy sitting in those now.
Are they in the
They're
managed
excited
account?
about that distribution.
I think that they'll be a partner in managed accounts.
By the way, this is totally okay. Sometimes we talk about this like, this is some like conflict of interest. This is a free market capital. Sure. Like you're allowed to have partnerships.
100%. My only trepidation is I'm not in the weeds on to the detail enough of like what's going in managed accounts. But all we've basically said to our friends at Dimensional is you should be able to come in and tell your story to all of our people, and all they've asked us is we just want to compete.
And they're a reputable firm,
and they're great folks. They're just great folks.
And they focus on low cost kind of stuff too. So it's like
they've got an interesting. I think to your point, and Dave Butler, their co-CEO, was on the stage today.
He did. Chief Investment Officer. Chief Executive Officer.
He basically, when he told the story about what you were saying, the cultish nature of that, this is what he basically said. Years ago, like 10, 12, 15 years ago, whenever it was, all they did was institutional work, right? DB, DC, institutional.
Oh! You didn't do it? Again?
Two double. Finish your thought.
And when folks came to them and said, we want to access your funds, they were like, we don't want to get involved with hot money. So we figured you need to come understand what we do. And it took on this culture's feel because they said no to a lot of people.
Yeah, right.
So it was an interesting
what
story.
You can't have.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So you guys taking it easy?
Okay, you got a few more coming your way. Thank you for spending time with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for having us here at the conference. We might need your help.
Yeah.
A little bit because
big time.
You're high up the corporate ladder, like maybe at the top.
Yeah.
We might have gotten in trouble here a few times, like rattled a few cages. I think some people might be mad at us. So if you could just put in a good word for us.
Here at OneDigital, they're mad at you? Okay.
Just
like
let
we
them
might have
know.
danced a little
we
too
need to
much
let
last
them
night.
understand that. Look, if you're gonna play with fire, you're gonna get fucking burned. So if you're gonna invite us and pay us to come here, you need to understand some shit's gonna get broken. Okay? That's how things work.
Right.
But if you could smooth that over
I'm gonna
for
smooth
us,
it over.
we'd really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Mike,
pleasure.
for
Thank
being
you,
on
Mike.
My
Retireholics.
pleasure.
That was fun.
Thank you all for
Appreciate you.
tuning in. And thank you to OneDigital and the Evolve Conference for having us here in Kansas City. We are the Retireholics. We are changing the retirement plan industry one beer at a time. And Sully here is going to have a few more shots of